talking bold predictions on today's edition of the Bulls Report. What's up, everybody? My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. I want to give you guys my 5 bold predictions for the Chicago Bulls throughout the rest of the offseason and during next regular season. And also a programming alert here. We are going to be going live here on the channel at 4 p.m. Central Time today, so hopefully you guys do tune in for that. It's going to be a ton of fun just breaking down everything around your Chicago Bulls. But before I give you guys my 5 bold predictions for Chicago, I want to get you guys' thoughts. What is your number 1 bold prediction for the Bulls, whether it's this offseason or during the regular season? It could be a trade or a player you guys think that's going to, break out or maybe have a regression year. But you guys let me know. What is your bold prediction for the Bulls down below? I had to start off with Zach LaVine on today's show. So my number 1 bold prediction is the Bulls trade Zach LaVine to the Los Angeles Lakers, as I really do believe the Lakers are going to be the top trade target for LaVine this offseason. I think it just makes too much sense, as you have the Clutch Sports connection with Rich Paul being his agent, and Rich Paul damn near runs the Lakers at this point in time. And plus the Lakers, they're probably the 8th to 11th best team in the Western Conference, and they could be looking at that scoring guard that could possibly get them over the top. But what could a trade look like? So this is where it gets a little challenging. I think this would have to be a 3-team deal, and I saw this trade on Fanspo's community page, and I actually loved it. So it would be the Bulls receiving D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood, and then the Lakers would be getting Zach LaVine, Torrey Craig, and a 2030 second-round pick from the Bulls. And then the Bulls would also be sending off Javon Carter. Lakers would be sending Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes to the Pistons just because they would help facilitate this deal, help move contracts, and they would also be getting a second-round pick for the Bulls. So this trade right here, I love it for this reason. If the Bulls are able to move Zach LaVine without giving up any of their own first-round picks, I'll make that clear, because I've talked about the Bulls using that Portland pick they have for next season to help facilitate a trade. But if they are able to move LaVine without giving up any of their own first-round picks, you do it at any cost, because that would be such a win for this offseason. If you could be heading into next year, no LaVine on the books, you're going to get just more shots and a higher usage rate to some of the younger players on this roster. You do that by any means. But I'm sure you're saying, why would the Bulls want D'Angelo Russell? Why would we get him in this deal? Well, I don't think D'Lo would actually be on the Bulls if they would help facilitate this deal for the Lakers. I think it'd be similar to the Drew Holiday trade last season when the Bucks sent him to Portland for Damian Lillard. Everybody was like, why do the Trailblazers want Drew Holiday? Well, what did they do? They sent Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics for 2 first-round picks and Malcolm Brogdon. Don't think the Bulls could get 2 firsts for D'Lo, but maybe they could get a first-round pick. $18 million contract. Think it could be very tradable. So, that's what I would do with D'Lo. But you're getting Rui in this deal as well. I think that would be a big pickup. That big physical forward, I think is definitely a need on this Bulls roster. So if the Bulls could trade LaVine to the Lakers, it would be an absolute steal of the offseason. But let's get to number 2 for me. This is probably the most bold prediction I have on here. But I think Coby White is going to be an all-star this upcoming season. And, we saw that jump Coby had this past year. Obviously a big reason of that was Zach LaVine not being in the lineup, which even gives me more, reason to trade LaVine this offseason. But he was fantastic this past year. And, I should have probably got the numbers from when LaVine was hurt, because I bet you it was around 22 points per game and very efficient. But, you think about that playing game versus the Atlanta Hawks. He was the best player on the floor. He was the best scorer on the floor. He was fantastic. But this past season, 19 a game, 5 assists, very efficient as well. Now, to be an all-star guard, probably going to want, Coby White, or would probably need Coby to average around 23, 24 points per game, around 5, 6 assists, maintain that efficiency. But I do think with the addition of Josh Giddey, we're going to see the scoring go up for Coby White. He's one of the best players in the NBA in terms of spot-up points per possession, ranks in the top 70th percentile in that statistical category. So I think with Josh Giddey, his addition, it's going to get more open looks for a guy like Coby White. But let's check out the all-star guards from last season in the Eastern Conference, because one of these guys is going to need to drop off. Don't see Halliburton going anywhere. He was a starter last season. Jalen Brunson, top 10 player in the world. He's not going anywhere. Maxey, he's still ascending. And obviously you got Donovan Mitchell. Those 4 guys are going to be all-stars this next season. So where does that leave Coby White? How does he fit in? Well, what if he takes Damian Lillard's spot? And, let's just say Father Time, continues to tap Dame on that shoulder of his. And let's just say he averages, 22 points a game, isn't the most efficient, and the Bucks are like 6th, 7th in the Eastern Conference, and maybe the Bulls are, don't have a good as record as the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's just say Kobe's averaging 24 a game, and he's looking like one of the best guards in the Eastern Conference. I could definitely see that being the case. So, number one, Kobe. He's going to need to get his overall production up to like 24, 25 points per game. And two, he's going to need Dame to have a down year. But I'll ask you guys this. Will Coby White be an all-star this season? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below. Make this the pinned comment on today's video. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, take advantage of it. Go down there and let me know your thoughts on Coby White being an all-star. Now, this is another bold prediction. This is probably actually more bold than the Coby White one. But I got Modest Buzelis wins Rookie of the Year for the Chicago Bulls. And a big reason why I think this is he has been awesome during Summer League. Like, he has looked the part, no doubt about it. Efficiency hasn't been the best, but in Summer League hoops, all these guys are, hyper athletic and, just their games aren't developed enough offensively to be consistently efficient players, right now in their NBA careers. But he's looked the part. We've seen the athleticism. We've seen the handle, which I love a lot. And plus, he is going to be a plus defender day one in the NBA. We saw the massive chase down block he had. Guard was turning the corner on him. He, got beat by a couple steps, but due to his length and athleticism, he was able to make up that space and absolutely pin a shot off the backboard. And plus, we saw this dunk. This was absolutely nasty. Modest in fourth quarter against the Golden State Warriors. Drove left on the fast break, rose up, just absolutely postered a Warriors player. That was awesome. Love to see that. But, if you're looking around the NBA, I don't think Alex Sarr is going to win Rookie of the Year. I don't think Risha Shea is going to win it, just mainly because a lot of these guys aren't going to be getting a lot of shots. I will say the number one contender, I think, to Buzelis is probably Reed Shepherd and Stephon Castle of the Spurs and the Rockets. They have looked great in Summer League so far, but I think it's going to be a three-man race between those three guys. But, hey, if Modest is a plus defender, averages 12, 13, 15 points a game, pretty efficient as well, I could definitely see him taking home some hardware in his rookie season. But number 4 for me, and this is also another offseason move, and this would be awesome. If all 4 of these things happen, I am, popping champagne here on the channel, and it's a very successful offseason and season for the Bulls. But it is Chicago trading Nikola Vucveic to the New Orleans Pelicans. As, again, same thing with LaVine heading to the Lakers. I think the Lake Show could be very interested in Zach. And then also, I think the Pelicans are going to be very interested in Vooch, as the centers on the roster right now are Daniel Tice and Yves Missi. I don't think they're comfortable rolling those two out at the 5 spot. Well, what could a trade could look like? Now, this is a blockbuster. If this would go down in the NBA, this would be awesome for the league. Number one, I'll start off at the bottom. The San Antonio Spurs would obviously get Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball. That would be sick for them. I would hate moving off Lonzo, obviously, but if it could help facilitate a Vooch deal, you do it. And then the Pelicans would be getting Vooch and Torrey Craig. And then the Bulls would be getting Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins. If you're able to get Keldon Johnson for Vooch and Lonzo Ball, shake their hands and you sprint or you hang up that phone call immediately. I think that would be great because Keldon, at the young age, he was fantastic this past season. Didn't take necessarily the biggest jump as I thought he was going to this upcoming year, but he was still very good. I mean, almost 16 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists, pretty efficient from the field and from beyond the arc as well. 6'5", physical guard plus defender, and I think he is the type of offensive player where he doesn't necessarily need the ball in his hands. And I think with Kobe, Josh Giddey, we need more of those guys, more of those play finishers on the perimeter. And listen, I would hate to move off Lonzo Ball, no doubt about it. That would stink because we would have spent the last 2.5 years watching him rehab, watching him work his way, back into the rotation. But if you could trade Nikola Vucveic, you do it. And the number one reason why I would want to trade Vooch is because who the Bulls signed this offseason? Jalen Smith. I think Jalen Smith has all types of potential, 24 years old, can be a stretch 5, can be a stretch 4, and, I think just his archetype of player is so valuable is because it offers, whatever team he's on, you can run a ton of different looks. You can go, him at the 5, and you would maybe be a little smaller at that 5 spot, but you can run 5 out. And then you could also run a big lineup with him at the 4 and maybe a more traditional center at the 5 and still have great spacing on the basketball floor. But he was pretty good for Indiana this past season in their conference final run, 10 points a game, 5.5 rebounds. Only a half a block a game, but I think a big reason of that was just his minutes weren't as high as, they will be for the Bulls. So expect that to be over, maybe 1.5 blocks a game this season. But if you could get Jalen Smith playing, let's just say 30, 35 minutes a game, I could see him averaging around 14, 10, 1.5 blocks. Probably the efficiency comes down a little bit to maybe 55 and 38, but that would be a hell of a year from Jalen Smith. So, I think moving Vooch is huge just to, get off his contract and, just have more moves to help, embody this youth movement. But also, if you could have Jalen Smith step in and take a huge step, that would be huge for the franchise here moving forward. But speak about taking a step. If I could choose out of all these, if I could pick one to come true, it would be this one. It would be Patrick Williams taking that next step. And, our tourist, Mark Eversley, they talked about in their press conference as a big reason why they did extend him is they're kind of projecting where he's going to be in a couple years. And listen, by no means do the numbers blow you away on Patrick Williams. But, I think as fans, we, almost chalk up to too much of the stats don't lie. Like, let's just look at the stats instead of the eye test. Well, Patrick Williams, the eye test for me tells me he has potential to be one of the best role players in the NBA. Can guard multiple positions. Can knock down the three-point shot in the flow of the offense. And Arturis actually talked about it. When P-Dub did go down, you felt smaller out there on the basketball court. He is huge. 6'7", 6'8", with a 7-foot wingspan. You feel that on the basketball court. And the number one way Patrick Williams takes that step is, I know this is kind of I don't like calling him this on the show, but, Bulls fans, we have called him passive P in the past. Well, let's get an aggressive P. And the number one way you do that is you trade Zach LaVine, get more shots to Patrick Williams. I think it could really help his development. So those are my 5 bold predictions for the Bulls. It would be awesome if all those could come true, but obviously we'll have to wait and see how this all plays out here the rest of this offseason. But you guys let me know, what are your thoughts on Patrick Williams? Let me know down below in the comments section. I'm a believer in him. I think he's got a ton of untapped potential. But hey, I know a lot of you guys disagree with me, and that is A-okay. But let me know your thoughts on P-Dub down below. And also, guys, you guys can give me a follow on Twitter. That's the handle right there, @PatSieps. If you guys do so, I'll give you guys a follow back. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Join us for a live show today at 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll be there breaking it down, everything you need to know about the Bulls. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.